you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to LaFleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Good evening, Monday, April 28th. Speaking of Playground, if you're looking for the ultimate entertainment destination, Playground is your ticket to nonstop thrills. Experience heart-pumping gaming action and world-class poker experience. Playground, the 2025 winner of Fan Choice Best Poker Room at the Global Poker Awards. Indulge your taste buds at their incredible restaurants, then let loose with live music, electrifying DJs. Enjoy unmatched customer service just minutes from downtown Montreal, right across the Mercier Bridge. Why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary Playground? It's all here. Visit playground.ca to discover more. Also brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different. And take a look at that fridge there. Bittt TV, they launched their new Ultra Lager. It's a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the playoffs with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. It's ultra light and ultra refreshing. We have other sponsors to talk to you about, but without further ado, he's a collaborator usually on Monday nights, and it is Monday. The Montreal Canadiens played on Friday night a couple of days ago. They narrowed the series lead to 2-1 at the time with a big win, 6-3 over the Washington Capitals. But unfortunately, 2 nights later, last night, the Canadiens had little gas left in the tank, I thought. As a buddy of mine called me this morning and told me, and I used this line, ils étaient flat et plate. And the Canadiens lose by a score of 5-2. The Capitals have a commanding 3-1 lead in the series, with Game 5 being played in Washington on Wednesday night. From Sportsnet, Eric Engels. What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
It's all good. You?
Good. I'm chilling.
Wow. And you're in Washington already, right?
I am actually just staying in Maryland. We were booked in Maryland. There's some sort of crazy convention going on in Washington. Hotels were very expensive, and I just checked into my hotel, and they had nothing available except for the executive suite. So I am in a premium room with a premium guy across from me. That was a hell of an intro. I could feel your energy. I just need a post of,
No, but that room is outstanding. Like, if you didn't tell me you were in Maryland, I would have thought you were doing this live from the White House.
It's something.
No, it really is. So excuse my ignorance, but how far is Maryland from the arena?
Right. We're just across the Potomac. We're 15 minutes from downtown DC.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Okay, that's cool.
Can you get a verse of like Felicita or something? Like, your energy is
Senti nell'aria c'è già la nostra canzone d'amore che va come un pensiero che sa di felicità. Thank you.
I mean, the fact that you didn't even hesitate,
yes,
is what I love about you.
Yeah, just name any song and I'll try and do the best I can.
We'll save the rest for later.
Got my first real 6-string, bought it at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled. Was the summer of '69, yeah. Me and some guys from school had a band and we tried real hard. Yeah, Jimmy quit, Jody got married, should I know? All right. What's going on?
There's a lot going on.
I wondered if the Canadiens, and I brought this up earlier today when I was hosting my radio show at BPM Sports weekdays from 9:54 a.m. Don't ask me why it starts at that time, but it does, till about 11:54 a.m. And that is, I'm wondering if Friday's win drained the Canadiens a lot, physically and mentally. They had 46 hits. They had 40 shots on goal. They dominated shots in every period. They dominated scoring chances in every period. They dominated hits in every period. And I'm wondering if, coupled with the fact that they're young and inexperienced, and there was some nerves yesterday, coupled with the fact that they were probably trying to sit back a little bit to try and insulate Dolbesh, who's fighting nerves as well. You add it all up together, and I'm wondering, because the Canadiens, I got to tell you, Eric, I know they were in the lead, right? And I just, we don't know how a game's going to go. I'll just tell you that when I saw that they weren't like storming out of the gates in the first 10 minutes and taking a 1-0 or 2-0 lead, I had a bad feeling. I just thought the Canadiens had to pounce right away and carry over from that momentum from game 3, especially in the third period. And they didn't do so, and I didn't have a good feeling. I just didn't.
Yeah, and I would say that there's another team on the ice, and they're pretty good. They finished with the second best record in the NHL, the best record in the Eastern Conference. They had the most comeback wins in the league at 25. They were tied with the Canadiens for the most third period comeback wins. They were a good team in the first period and the second. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the record they had. And they didn't play well in game 3. I mean, they played really the worst they possibly could in that atmosphere, and it was definitely a factor. And you know why they adjusted quickly? Because Ovechkin is 39 and Wilson is 31 and Carlson is 35. And look up and down the lineup from Dubois to Duhaime to Mangiapane to all these guys, okay? They have been in all these different types of situations, and that adjusts. That is a factor over time. That adjustment happens a bit quicker for a team that's in that situation. They raised their level. Capitals played a great game at 5-on-5. The special teams battle was won by Montreal. Usually, most of the game is played at 5-on-5. We'll talk about penalties and all that crap at some point because I want to address it for sure. It's not that the Canadiens lost the game. If anybody thinks it is, well, we'll get to that. The Capitals raised their level, and the Canadiens, even if they had played at the same level as Game 3 with the Capitals playing that well, they had to know there's another level you have to continuously get to. I was talking to Mike Matheson before the game. I was talking to Brendan Gallagher before the game. I was talking to everybody I could talk to in the Canadiens room to say, what you did in Game 3, it was one of the best games, if not the best game you guys played as a group together. But you still have to bring it to another level because they're going to come back hard at you. And they knew. And they did. And now Montreal's season is on the line. And what do you think is going to happen, Mark? I'm not going to predict what the outcome is going to be. And the Canadiens might get blown out. But my expectation is that they're going to come out and raise their level. That's my expectation.
Yeah, so you think the Canadiens are going to play with the desperation that they were missing yesterday? You think they're going to play with that desperation on Wednesday?
I didn't think they were missing desperation or urgency. They were down 2-1 in the series. They just caught a better punch from the Capitals. Capitals punched back hard. They had to because they were dominated in Game 3. They weren't just beat in Game 3. The first 2 games were close games. Capitals had a couple better periods. The Canadiens had better third periods. This game, Game 3, was not close. The 6-3 score was indicative of how that game was played, but not even representative of how much of a domination that was. 46 hits to 23 or 25 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The Canadiens had 81 shot attempts to Washington's 45 or so. That it wasn't a close game. There was no part of it that was close. You knew they were going to come back hard. Now the Canadiens have to respond, and that's how the playoffs go. I think we're going to see 2 teams with an extra day of rest in between giving you the best that they have. And on paper, you would think that lends well for Washington. But something about Montreal, like every time everybody counts them out, they come back with a real heavy punch. And I don't know, as Marty would say, if it would guarantee them a win, but it's going to increase their percentages from what they were last night.
Speaking of heavy punch, the Florida Panthers were down 2-1 with about 3.5 minutes left in regulation. They scored like 3 goals in just a couple of minutes and beat the Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 4-2. It was unbelievable. The last one coming in an empty net, but man, I don't think Tampa expected that. Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of things. There was a lot of things Tampa didn't expect in that game, and I was on a plane just catching the highlights. So,
yeah. All right. Okay. Look. So let's talk about it. I mean, the whole city's talking about it. The Ovechkin hit on Jake Evans, and the Tom Wilson hit on Alex Carrier. Some see them both as headshots. Some see one of the two as headshots. Some see none as headshots. Some think Tom Wilson maybe at the very least should have got a charging penalty. How did you see it?
Okay. I want to start at the beginning because I've got a rant to go on here, okay?
Okay.
You let me rant? Am I good to rant?
Please do, man. I've been working so much lately. No, I've been working so much lately. I'd love for you to take over right now.
Yeah, I'm going to rant.
Okay.
First penalty of the game on Alexiev. Total joke on Heineman. Boxing out Heineman in front of the net. He gets a penalty for interference. Total joke of a call. Next penalty on Gulli. Awful call. Just ridiculous. Like, play off the puck. Dobich plays a puck. He's in a mix-up, initiating contact with the guy he's in a battle with. He's off to the box for interference. Call on Jack-Eye. Legitimate call. Interference. Okay, I could swallow that, even though they let it go 50 times a game. Fine. The call on Dvorak was a joke. Like, Dubois sells it completely. No contact made. Armia follows him to the box.
Total dive. Yeah.
To make the Canadiens go down 5-on-3 with Wilson diving into the corner and Armia stick along the ice if he gets called for hooking. Bad call. Okay? I know people think like this was slanted, especially Canadiens fans. It was terrible both ways. The call on John Carlson for knocking Dvorak's stick out of his hand, with Dvorak having one hand on his stick, poking at the puck, and Carlson making a play at the puck and like swiping at his stick. That is such a shit call. Like, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like, you want to make it automatic because you break a guy's stick? Fine. You knock a guy's stick out of his hands when he's holding it with one hand, and you're going to call that in a playoff game? That's a joke. Wilson. Before we get to Wilson, Ovechkin. I did something that I hate doing and I should have refrained from doing in the moment. I only saw one replay, and it was the one from, like, I got the blind side replay. I didn't get from the side that Ovechkin was throwing the hit.
Okay.
So I thought he initially hit him in the head.
Okay.
He didn't. He hit him in the shoulder, through the body. It was interference, 2-minute penalty for interference, guaranteed the right call. That said, with that type of run and the chaos caused by that type of thing, if Evan stays down for even 1 second, or if that's Arbor Jack-Eye hitting, pick any player on the Capitals, they're calling 5 minutes, going to review it, and then deciding, you know what, that's a 2-minute call. Okay? It's Ovechkin. He's 39 years old. He gets the benefit of the doubt. He's the greatest goal scorer of all time.
Okay.
I get that, but it's, to me, whatever. They got the right call in the end, so I'm not going to complain about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson on Carrier.
Yeah.
Is a legal hit. And if people want to complain it's charging, if Josh Anderson lands that hit, Canadiens fans would be calling for his number to be retired.
I hear you. Marty St. Louis called for charging. He looked over at the ref and said it's charging.
And that's Marty's prerogative, and Marty has an emotional investment in it. And if anybody wants to argue that, there is some leg to stand on within that argument. But to me, I don't want to call it a clean hit because it's a predatory hit, as most hits are in the playoffs. You're not just trying to hit someone and take them out of the play. You're trying to hurt them. And Wilson achieved his goal, okay? But
usually when you hurt somebody,
yeah,
there's an ounce of illegality in the hit because it's hard to hurt somebody with a legal hit. But still possible, yes.
Legal, okay? You know what wasn't legal? The hit that Wilson threw in the first period at Lane Hudson. He hit him right in the head.
Okay.
That was an illegal hit. Hudson was reaching for his head like he hit me right in the head. Nobody puts their arm up. Like, guys, the first two games, 3 contacts to the face.
Yes.
The Gallagher and Caulfield, with the refs staring right at it and willfully ignoring it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I understand the standard in the playoffs goes up. I understand certain things shouldn't be called, although they seem to be sensitive by missing all these calls in the first few games and called the bullshit on Alexiev and Gulli to start the game last game, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All we're asking is for a flagrant cross-check to the face or a headshot like we saw in the Florida-Tampa game where Ekblad gave a forearm shiver to Hagel's head right in front of the ref.
Yeah.
And if he didn't see it, there were 3 others on the ice that could have called a major on the play. That was a 5-minute major. Kick the guy out of the game every time. Every time. That's a penalty all day, every day. Those are the penalties that if you cannot make those calls or you are not willing to make those calls, you have no business reffing in the playoffs. Get out of here. There's zero reason for you to ignore a guy taking a cross check on the puck in the slot in the face. It's crazy. And it's not just the Canadiens and Capitals. It's every series I'm watching, the standard of officiating is pitiful. It's the worst I've ever seen. And that's acknowledging that, like, these guys have such a hard job. It is a thankless job. No one is going to be like, the refs did a great job today, okay? But it's getting out of control with the egregious headhunting kind of shots you're seeing that the refs are not missing. They're not missing the call. They're not calling it. That can't happen. That can't happen. We could debate about the chintzy hooking or the phantom high stick or this or that and say that's bad. Stuff happens so quick and the guys are good at selling shit. You know, they're partly to blame too. But drilling somebody in the head 5 feet from the ref on a play that's on the puck, where else are you looking if you're the referee? That's incompetence. That's there. And you know how the refs are held to account, Tony, right?
Yeah.
If they don't do the job properly, they don't move on through the playoffs. John McIsaac, who was reffing that game today, who either didn't see 5 feet in front of him a play on the puck with Ekblad drilling Hagel in the head, should not ref for a number of games moving. Ekblad should get suspended, and he's going to get suspended. I don't usually go out on a limb on this stuff. I know how they operate. If he doesn't get suspended, something is seriously wrong with that hit. But Wilson, Ovechkin, it's over with, and move on about it. I know the Canadiens are upset about it, and they should be, because they're emotionally invested, and that's how it goes. And you see it, your player go down. I feel terrible for Alex Carrier. Like he is a warrior, and he took that hit knowing it was coming. He doesn't get out of the way of hits purposely. He takes hits to make plays consistently. It's a horrible thing to see a teammate go down for the guys that are around him, and even for people like me who come to know these guys, and you don't like to see that. You just don't like to see anybody get hurt.
So a lot of Canadiens fans are complaining because Gallagher took a cross check in the teeth in game 1. He took a cross check to the teeth in game 2.
Yeah.
And McMichael tried to elbow Caulfield yesterday. Ovechkin went after Carrier. Ovechkin went after Evans.
I missed one, by the way. I missed one.
Yeah.
Anderson Wilson, after Wilson hit Matheson and Wilson went down like he was shot, and Lequier was calling both guys. He clearly pointed at both guys, you're both going, and then changed his mind. What is that? I've never seen that before. That was ridiculous. Anyways, go on, Tony. I understand you're saying there's a build-up here as to why Canadiens fans are upset. I guess. Yeah,
okay. So, you add it all up. I'll say this before we talk about, before I give my take on the hits, is that why don't the Canadiens players just do the same? Why don't they just do the same? Why don't they go out and finish their hits too? And why don't they do the same? Why don't they hit with the same level of aggression? And why don't they hit with the same level of viciousness? There's just, we can talk about the makeup of this team, this, that, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. There's not enough guys that are mean enough on this team.
There isn't, and it's not something that you are able to add overnight.
If I can, I'll finish with this. I said earlier this morning that the best thing about this team is that there's 20 great guys on it, really nice, great guys, and the worst thing about this team sometimes is that there's 20 really nice, great guys.
Well, I'll say this: a lot of the damage inflicted in the playoffs is on the forecheck. Okay, so yes, you have the DNA of a guy like Jack-Eye. He can do some damage in front of the net, in the corners. Guys come at him. Potentially at his own blue line, if he's able to stand up, if the back pressure is there. Okay, Gooley certainly punishing guys that are coming anywhere near him. There aren't a lot of Josh Andersons up front. Okay, there are guys that are certainly following his lead and trying to play like him, but you can't ask somebody to be Josh Anderson if they're not him. Okay, like the Capitals have Duhaime, they have Wilson, They have Mangiapane, who's a gritty player no matter what his size is. They have guys who fit that DNA. The Canadiens are 3 years into a rebuild where the middle to bottom six was essentially set and the hardest part to undo of their team. And thankfully they didn't, by the way, because they wouldn't be here right now getting this valuable experience for the young core if it wasn't for the Dvoraks and the Evanses and the Armias and the Gallaghers and Andersons, okay? But I could guarantee you that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon are watching these games, and they knew way before these games that there will be value placed on trying to get a couple more guys up front that play like Josh Anderson. And those are the guys that really help get you through. They know. They've been around the block long enough to know, and they know what the makeup is of their team in terms of the different components from Caulfield to Demidov to Suzuki and to Newhook, who look like players that are going to be here for a while. They will need to be surrounded by more of the Josh Andersons of the world, and they're gonna that will certainly be a priority for them, as well as the second line center, right hand D who's a veteran.
Yeah, you know what? Correct. The big right hand D is not going to hurt. We know they need a second line centerman for sure. I also take a look at Washington's fourth line in this series of Dowd, Duhaime, and Radish. I think they've done a really, really good job. All their lines have done a really good job.
They're a good team, man.
Don't you think that Dylan Strome has outplayed Suzuki so far? Yes.
Not when he's been in a matchup directly against Suzuki. When he's gotten away from him, he has managed to do his damage. You know what?
Yeah.
You talk about all those guys. I talked about the veterans, all right? The best line in this series so far is Dubois and Wilson playing with McMichael.
Correct.
Three big guys who play the body and have a ton of experience.
They lean on you.
And
they're heavy.
That's been a tough matchup for the Suzuki line. Suzuki line has had dominant shifts of this series. I understand Suzuki has 2 goals in the series in 4 games. 2 third periods where they didn't cash on as many opportunities as they should, where they absolutely dominated. Played a great game 3. Game 4, a little tougher because they saw a bit more of Dubois' line and a bit more of Dowd's line and a little less of Strome's line. When they saw Strome's line, it wasn't a factor. Like, they were way better. It's just, and that's now Marty's got the disadvantage on the road, and it is a game of cat and mouse, and you have to decide. The decision is not, I'm going to keep Nick Suzuki away from these 2 lines as much as I possibly can. Of course you are, but you're not going to keep him off the ice.
Yeah.
The Canadiens have their backs against the wall. Their season is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Suzuki is going to play a lot tomorrow, and he should play a lot tomorrow.
Wednesday.
I've said this at different points this season. Wednesday night. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've said this at different points. Whenever the Canadiens have needed somebody to step up, you could bet. You could bet whatever you want. Nick Suzuki is going to show up. And he will show up for Game 5. That's a guarantee. Whether or not it ends up in the net is going to be up to there's a ton of different factors in that, right? But
yeah.
You look at the betting lines, prop bets on players. Like everybody said at 0.5 or over, like who's going to get a point in the game. He said it 1.5 for every game because that's the potential that he's shown to have.
So Jack Guy, you said the other night that it was time to put Jack Guy in for Game 3. I said the other night it was time to put Jack Guy in for Game.
I said Game 2.
Game 2. Okay.
Yeah.
I said it was time to put him in for Game 3. Game 3, he went in. I thought he did the job. I thought the Canadiens obviously were really motivated. Were hitting a lot. They were shooting a lot. They had a lot of scoring chances. They were unbelievable. But I've said all along, and especially, former NHL enforcers have always had this opinion. They've had several opinions, one of which is that when you have a tough guy in your lineup, it makes everyone bigger and gives them more confidence. And I've always agreed with that. But a lot of them have been of the opinion that when you have that nuclear deterrent in your lineup, shit disturbers and big physical guys on the other team are going to be innocent, silent, and they're not going to do anything. And I've never believed that. Marty St. Louis said a couple of nights ago, you actually think that if I put Jack Guy in the lineup, that Tom Wilson's going to stop hitting people? And obviously he didn't think that he would. And you know what? I didn't think that he would either. So I say this, is that I'm happy Jack Guy's in the lineup. The Canadiens have out-hit the Washington Capitals since Jack Guy's been in the lineup. Jack Guy, I think, had 6 hits on Friday, and I think he had 6 hits on Sunday. None of them hurt all that much, but, he's a better fighter than he is a hitter, but that's okay. Maybe one day he'll master the art of hitting the way Romanov has and the way Yemelin did and so many others. But there's no one that's going to take it out of my head. It's not because you have a tough guy in the lineup that guys are going to stop hitting your players. And by the way, even though Josh Anderson beat up Tom Wilson in a fight earlier this year, and he did, any Montreal Canadian fan who suggests to me that Tom Wilson is scared of Josh Anderson and or Arbor Jackeye, Tom Wilson's not scared of anything.
Tom Wilson's not scared of anybody, and Marty was right that, I said this to you last week. It was right after I wrote the column about why Jackeye should play. That Jackeye wasn't going to change the way Tom Wilson plays. He was going to change the way Anthony Beauvillier plays. He was going to keep Anthony Beauvillier from playing like Tom Wilson, which he did in Game 1. Okay? Mm-hmm. That is an undeniable factor that has entered into the series with Jackeye's presence. And by the way, like I said, okay, he deserved this penalty last night. I don't care if he takes one a game. I also have seen that be let go 5,000 times in late season hockey and in playoffs. He played well. He in limited minutes, in a sheltered role, nonetheless, he played well. Was he perfect? No. Is he ever going to be? Is anybody? No. Was Gouli perfect? No. To me, the game 4 featured the duality of the Canadiens, the duality of their youth. I wrote about that. Yeah. At one end of the ice, you had a power play with Nick Suzuki as the elder statesman on it at 25 years old.
Yeah.
You had the 3 youngest players on the Canadiens connect on a goal that was magnificent.
Demidov, Hudson, and Slavkovsky. Yes, 2 19s and a 21.
And within that, it's 2 21s and a 19. And within that.
Pardon me. Yes.
One moment, metaphorically, is the Canadian season, right? Like these young kids, the core drive this result, which is the most positive thing that could happen, that they gave themselves this opportunity to play playoff games, and they are featured in those games in terms of key players. And at the other end, we got a reminder as to why Alex Carrier was traded for in the first place. Because the Canadiens were full of lefties, and they were full of young kids who didn't have any type of playoff experience. Mm-hmm. And they traded Justin Barron out to kind of level that off and stabilize things. And in Carrier's absence, I want to make this very clear. I'm not blaming Gouli for the decision he made in the split second that led to Magiopan's goal, okay? He ends up on the ice with Jackeye because Matheson's been used for 8 minutes shorthanded. Savard's been used for 6.5 minutes shorthanded. Deep in the third period, they need to give some guys they need to give guys some rest in between shifts, playing a ton of minutes, all these guys. And Gouli and Jackeye get on the ice, and I don't know if they had a conversation beforehand, or I don't know if there was one miscue in terms of communication. Who's going to play the right? Both guys playing the left all night. This is the shit that happens. These are when you hear the terms, margins are so thin in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's how thin the margin is. That one little conversation, who's going to play the right? I'm taking right. If nobody said it and both of them ended up there, Magiopan ended up free to take that shot with Dvorak backing into his goalie. That's how slim the margins are, and that is the double-edged sword of youth with the Canadiens, from Demidov, Slavkovsky, and Hudson to Gouli and Jackeye in that moment to Carrier. The good news for Canadiens fans is this. The edge has tipped much more towards the positive in that youth and experience double-edged sword. And that could keep this season going for them. I don't know if it gets them through 7 games, Tony.
Yeah, I hear you.
Could get them back to the Bell Center for game 6.
I think the good news of this series so far is that they're learning a lot about themselves, and there's a lot of questions that are being answered for Gordon and Hughes and Marty St. Louis. And I think, I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier today, and we are talking about, let's just say if the Canadiens would have played the Toronto Maple Leafs, and let's just say it would have been an offensive series, and the Canadiens would have lost, in 6 games or whatever, and they would have lost every game, the 4 games they would have lost 5-3 or whatever, and would have said, okay, you know what? Canadiens are a couple of goals short on the offense to Toronto. Okay, that's one question being answered. But by losing to the Washington Capitals the way they're losing, with the Capitals' experience serving them well, with the Capitals' size and weight and hitting and game plan and experience and all this stuff serving them well, the Canadiens are going to school here. They're going to school and they're learning a lot. And this is good. It's too bad. I mean, everyone would like to see them up right now instead of trailing 3-1, but
let's zone in on Demidov.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have played 2 games at the end of the regular season and come away with tons of takeaways in terms of what it's going to take for him to be the player he wants to be at this level. That he has gotten 4 played the way these ones have been played in the playoffs with his attitude and his drive, which is very similar to Lane Hudson, a guy who knows he can be a difference maker, who wants to be a difference maker, and has the ability to do it. I just think this is tremendous. It's not just about the future, though. For him, it's not just about the future for Hudson, Slavkovsky, Suzuki, whoever it is, okay? The present is still very important. I know a lot of people have said House Money and this is gravy, and it's not if you don't treat it with the level of urgency to up your game. And if it ends up being a loss, you lost knowing you threw your best punch. Okay? And the Canadiens have been doing that through these 4 games. They're down 3-1. They have been doing that. I heard what you said about game 4, but they hung in there, man. Like, they took a serious haymaker from Washington, and they were right there. You got to give the Capitals credit, too. It's important, the present, also for the veterans, okay? I think of guys like Anderson and Gallagher and what they've been through this season, what they sacrificed over the last 3, where a lot of people complained about their contracts, what type of players they looked that they could continue to be, not being really shells or being somewhat shells of the former versions of themselves, questions flying as to whether or not they could still be effective type players. Think of Dvorak, who's been a very muted player with the Canadiens, who has not even gotten credit when he has played well at times because his game is so vanilla and doesn't stand out as not particularly drawing you out of your seat. I think of Savard, who's playing his last season. I think of Matheson, who has only been in the playoffs 3 times in his career and gets shit on left, right, and center, and certainly is worthy of some of it for the mistakes that he makes. But the present matters to all these guys, okay? Like, it's not just about the future. How many more chances will Gallagher have a chance, be able to play in these types of games at the level that he proved he can still play at this year, scoring 20 goals and playing the way he did? That's why I asked him today when we spoke to him in the conference call, think about what you have fought through this year and what is in front of you. It's not just for the old guys, it's for the young guys too. The present matters, and they are treating it that way, and that is a real value for the future.
The Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Accent Insurance Solutions. All insurance isn't created equal. You know where to find the right solution for you. Accent Insurance. Accent they don't just sell insurance. They shop insurance for you to find the right product right on the money. Whatever your insurance needs, home, automobile, or business, call 514-363-3636. Jot down that number. Visit their website, www.accentassurance.com. Also, are the Montreal Canadiens going to win big game 5? Well, if you think so, you can get on the action. Go all the way with Betway. Get a free bet up to $200. If your first bet loses, that is, scan the QR code on the screen. Click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. Offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offer is not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly. All right, okay. We talked about some of those hits in the series. Jakub Dobiš was asked about the Wilson hit on Carrier. This is what Dobiš had to say.
It's going to be a whistle because they were in their defensive zone and far away, but I guess, as I said, I don't really know the rules, so I felt like it should have been a whistle, and I mean, it was kind of a scary hit, but I guess the rules don't apply for everyone in this league. I have no idea.
What does Marty St. Louis think of the calls thus far and the officials, the officiating?
I'll be careful with my words, but it's hard to watch some of these calls. You know, to me tonight, like one of the mandate was about embellishing tonight.
Eric, your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, for people who don't know, there's a series supervisor, somebody who works within the situation room is doing this one, and, you know, dealt with both general managers early in the morning, told them, you know, we're trying to hold our officials to a certain level of account. We need you guys to cut the shit out during the warm-ups, in between the whistles, and, you know, we're seeing a lot of diving here and a lot of embellishing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't change much. I mean, both teams find 25 Gs. Jackeye gets one. Anderson get nabbed. You know, look, the league, the officials did them a favor in Game 3. Those guys could have been in big trouble fighting in the bench. You're not supposed to fight anywhere but the playing surface.
Yeah.
And, you know, because the door swung open and they ended up there, that's how it was dealt with. So give them credit for that. But I don't know, like, I would like for them to care a lot more about what's happening between the whistles than what's happening after them or before them. Personally. Can I ask you something, Tony?
Go ahead.
Were you at the Bell Center for either of these games?
No. Game 3, Friday night, we had a watch party at Sir Winston's.
Okay.
So I watched the game with the fans there.
Did they have the
And
volume
then
on
went
there?
on. Sorry?
They had the volume on there?
Yep.
Did that atmosphere like come through the TV?
Oh, yeah. But you know what? It didn't yesterday. So watching it on TV
Were you
yesterday.
watching on Sportsnet or TNT? Say Sportsnet. Say TNT if you're saying you didn't come there.
Watched it. I'm trying to think now. I think it was on. I think it was on TV yesterday, and I think it was on Sportsnet the night before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
Anyway.
Yeah, Sportsnet is the best. That's why. No, I'm just kidding. For the people at TV, I know you work with them. 17 years I've been covering games at the Bell Center, okay? And I've seen some great ones there. You Canadiens fans are unbelievable. Like, there is nothing close to this. I was in Winnipeg, Colorado last year. Both arenas, awesome. Winnipeg, the whiteout, such a sick experience. And they're at a disadvantage with only 15,000 fans in the building there. There's nothing. There is nothing that compares to what we saw in Game 3 there. And Game 4 was insane at times too. It was unbelievable, but the building it's just special. It's, you know, Marty talked about being able to appreciate the work environment that he gets. He hasn't taken it for granted.
Yeah.
Me neither. Like, I grew up, born and raised in Montreal. I didn't have to leave. There are very few English-speaking jobs in the media. I didn't have to leave town to make my career. And every game I get to go to is in the best arena in the NHL. It's
pretty cool.
It was so special, those two games. And it makes me think, like, if it was special for me, it must have been just so unbelievable for the players. And I have to think that that's in their mind coming to Washington. They want one more chance to open up that building and have a chance to push this thing to 7.
I know, but if they would have won yesterday, they would have had that possibility. They would have been back for Game 6. And yesterday they played with very little desperation, Eric.
I don't think that's fair, Tony. I don't think that's the right way of looking at it. Come on. You don't think they were desperate to win the game? Of course they were.
I said I don't think
what's a little desperation? Look at the 5-on-3 that they're trying to kill and the way they're playing. Look at the hits they're taking. Look at Carrier literally jumping out of the way, being bulldozed by Ovechkin, coming back into the game and getting crushed by Wilson. Like, these guys are playing desperate. They're just another team on you.
Well, but that's you're talking about one man's will and character. I'm talking about the team's desperation to win. They had 5 shots after 28 minutes, Eric. They had 5 shots on home ice.
They were getting beat by a team that was playing better than them
because they didn't play their most desperate hockey. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's I don't see how you could see it that way. You don't think they wanted to win that?
I didn't say that. Of course, they win, Eric. No, what I said was they did not play their most desperate hockey last night. They played their most desperate hockey.
They didn't play well enough to win.
Well, they played their most desperate hockey on Friday night. They played desperate hockey. Their most desperate hockey I've seen them play in a long time, right? They had 46 hits. They outshot Washington in every period. They outchanced Washington in every period. They were the better team from the start of the whistle to the final buzzer. They were the better team in the first minute. They were a better team in the last minute. The Canadiens for the first 28 minutes weren't there.
They played their best. They played their best game. Game 3, they played their best game in 3 years. It was the best game of this iteration of this team.
Okay, so now
I don't know. Did you really think that like the Capitals were just gonna be like, well, we're fucked now? I mean, like, this is the playoffs.
No, I didn't say that. My comment was a simple one that the Montreal Canadiens did not play their most desperate hockey to win a hockey game last night.
Yeah, I think the framing is off for me. The framing for me is they didn't play as well as they need to win. They didn't play as well as they need to.
Okay.
Desperate. Yeah. They're down 2-1 in the series. If you don't think they're desperate to win, of course they are.
Well,
there was plenty of examples of their desperation within the game.
You're desperate to win. I thought they played like a nervous hockey team that wanted to get out of the first period not being behind. I thought they played like a team yesterday that played not to lose more than they played to win. Just my take. I see some agreeing with me. I see some disagreeing with me.
By the way,
no problem.
I don't even disagree with that. But to me, that's not the same thing as like they aren't desperate enough. I don't. Anyways, we're not on the same.
It doesn't matter
in terms of the framing.
It doesn't. They're gonna have to be a lot better.
Yes.
On Wednesday night, if they're gonna want to win in a building that has some degree of ambiance. It's not the best building I've ever been to. It's not the worst. You've been to a lot more than.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If they lose tomorrow,
yeah,
didn't find a way to play their best game. Do you think it would be because they're not desperate enough? Down with their season on the line?
It's not a question of not being desperate enough. It's playing.
That's right.
It's about playing your most desperate hockey, Eric. Yeah, do you think they played their most desperate hockey? They had 5 shots in 28 minutes, Eric. I don't know what to tell you, man.
I think they got outplayed.
I know, like 5 shots in 28 minutes. If they would have tried to shoot less than 5 times after 28 minutes, they would have shot more.
Yeah.
All right. So now it doesn't matter. What?
What do you think's going to happen Wednesday? I keep saying tomorrow. Sorry.
I don't know. I know. You know what's happened with the power play? It's been better ever since I said get Patrick Laine off of it. Put Cole Caulfield in the Laine spot and put Demidov in Cole Caulfield's spot because yours truly, I said that.
Hey, listen, game 3 and game 4 were by far Laine's best games of the series, no doubt.
Games 3 and games 4 that he didn't play. Wow,
Tony, the joke's not that funny if you have to explain it.
No, but I mean that's oof.
Come on.
He's got a hand injury, eh? They say it's a hand injury.
Uh-huh.
Hey?
I don't know.
Well, when he was clapping his hand in the locker room, it looked like his hand was really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Did it look like a hand injury to you, or is it just?
I don't know.
I think even if he would have been healthy, they would have taken him out of the lineup. That's my take.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a comment on Laine, do you? Or
no?
You're not the president of the fan club, are you?
I'm not. I don't need to be. It's not my job to be.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay.
I think, as I said to you last Tuesday, when we talked Tuesday, days are all blending together. So the only question regarding this guy is, does he give you a better chance to win? And the answer was clearly no. And the answer has only been confirmed since. So
yeah.
That's it.
No, I don't think he does either. Okay, now.
I don't think, I don't doubt that he has something up. I don't think it's so much that if he was tapped to play that he wouldn't be able to.
I hear you. And I agree with you on that one.
What do you think's going to happen Wednesday?
I think the Canadiens are done.
You think they're done?
Yep. I mean, I can't. It's the playoffs, right? I can't say they're going to tie, right? There's no ties. You got to pick a winner, right? If I had to pick a winner, I would think it's going to be the Washington Capitals. Now, if you're going to say if you're going to tell me, well, the Canadiens could, well, of course the Canadiens could. Well, this is sports, right?
Yeah.
We've seen anything can happen, right? The game is played on the ice. I'm going with this, okay?
No Montembeault, no Carrier.
Okay, correct. So I'm going with the Montreal Canadiens had a chance to even the series on home ice.
Mm-hmm.
I just gave you my opinion. I didn't think they played their most desperate game to win, and they had 5 shots after 28 minutes. What was great was their power play, and what was great was their penalty kill. And 5-on-5, they were absolutely not great because they didn't score any goals. Washington, for the most part, has been the better team than the Montreal Canadiens, and I think the Washington Capitals have a second line, which the Montreal Canadiens do not. I think the Washington Capitals have a better fourth line than the Montreal Canadiens. I think the Washington Capitals are going on home ice where the Montreal Canadiens have failed to win a game. I think they're going to be energized by the crowd. Samuel Montembeault, the Canadiens' number 1 goalie, is hurt. Logan Thompson, the Washington Capitals' number 1 goalie, is in the lineup. Alex Carrier got hit, and he got hit pretty hard, and he looks obviously hurt. I mean, I'd love to be more optimistic, but I'm not. Now, believe you me when I tell you I definitely want the Montreal Canadiens to win. I mean, I host a 2-hour radio show, and I host an hour podcast, and the podcast goes 12 months a year. I think it's safe to say it's going to be a lot more exciting if the Canadiens win. So I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping for a Canadiens win, and hopefully the Canadiens can keep it going for as long as possible. But I'm not overly optimistic right now. I might wake up tomorrow and I might change my mind. Right now, I'm not very optimistic.
Right, like they practice tomorrow, and if Montembeault, Carrier, or both are on the ice, you might change your opinion?
Probably not, because I think that if they're going to come back, they're going to be playing hurt.
Okay. Well, I think even without them, and it's fun for us to disagree, even though our last disagreement about 5 minutes ago was probably a silly one. I think the Canadiens are going to win. I think they're going to win Game 5.
That would be amazing.
I can't guarantee it, and I've been wrong before, but I just have a feeling that they're going to go win that game, and there will be a Game 6 of the Bell Center.
Now, you know what? That's all I ask. I don't ask for more
usually.
And then once we get to Game 6, I'm going to ask them to win that one.
I usually ride the fence. I usually don't like to pick a side, and I don't like making predictions.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I could be wrong.
You think Marty St. Louis pulled his goalie too early?
No.
You don't think he should have waited to see if they win the draw and gain possession of the puck before pulling him?
I mean, in the end, they won the draw.
Yes.
Washington didn't just shoot the puck from their end into the goal.
Mm-hmm.
No problem with it.
I don't think the game was lost there, by the way.
No.
I don't think the game was lost there.
The Wilson hit changed everything. And
the Wilson hit changed everything.
Allowing that goal, the Mangiapane goal is.
I don't think Lane Hudson and Kaden Gooley on the defensive side of the game had a great game last night.
Well, listen, that was Gooley and Xhekaj together. Like I said, confusion created by them not even being on the right side at any point in the game, really. Aside from they had 5 other instances where they were on the ice together, but that could have just as easily been quick changes between partners in the second period. Hudson, the first goal was on Dobish. Hudson gave away the puck in the neutral zone. He made his play to take up his man. Dobish left the puck right in front of him. Strome scored.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Okay, Dobish took away 2 goals, Carlson and Wilson.
Bang plays on the power play going from right to left.
Like unbelievable save. So He made another save on McMichael. Bank off the boards, glove save on the power play. Dobish did his job. He did what, make the saves that are expected of you and try to make a couple more.
Let's hear from Marty St. Louis on whether or not he thinks he pulled, when he was asked if he pulled the goalie too quick. Let's hear him.
I wasn't there for Marty.
You have an offensive zone face-off. I need a goal. Whether I get it at 32 seconds left, at 2:32 seconds left, you need a goal. An offensive zone draw. I still have a timeout. So I potentially can have, the guys that I want on the ice for the rest of the game if I really need to. So for me, it was you might never get another offensive zone face-off. And then it's hard, okay, if you don't pull it now, who's going on the ice? And now, are we going to be able to get organized? It might not be another whistle. So it's hard. But for me, I felt very confident, and we actually won the face-off. But, what happened. But I felt very confident at that time to pull it.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm not. I was.
I'm good with his answer.
To get to the airport, I did Gallagher's Zoom availability, and then I missed Marty today, so I was going to listen to that after this. Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good with his answer. I'm good with it.
Watch the game, and that's not why.
Yeah, no, I'm good with it. All right, okay. In ending, let's hear from Brendan Gallagher. You said talk to him on enjoying the challenge and on the team's resiliency. Let's hear 2 clips.
It's been great. Obviously, we miss this feeling. We miss this a lot. We had to put in a ton of work to get to this point and to earn this opportunity. So it goes to show how hungry we are. We're down right now, but we're not out. This team's going to keep fighting. It's what it's done all year, and there's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. So it's we're enjoying this still. Every challenge is a new opportunity to push yourself and to grow as individuals and as a group. And the situation we're in is no different. We're resilient. I'm sure we've been counted out by people outside our locker room more than once this year. So this situation, like I said, is going to be no different. We've gone through some tough stretches as a group. We've responded the way we needed to respond, and this is no different. We're facing the same challenge, and the task can seem pretty daunting when you look at the big picture, but small picture. Got to go on the road, win one game, completely flip the momentum, and you do that, you start to plant a little bit of doubt in their mind, and you go from there. Like I said, this is a resilient group, and we still have some guys from from a few years ago when we did this against Toronto that know the mental aspects of it as well, and how it feels as you're coming back. So the next one's important, obviously, but if you're able to get that one, you're able to really roll from there.
All right, okay. Brendan Gallagher, who brings up the fact that we're down 3-1 to Toronto.
So that's Gallagher, Anderson, Armia, Evans, Suzuki, Caulfield. Am I missing anyone?
That were there versus Toronto?
I think that's all of them.
That's all of them.
All of those guys were important, and all of those guys have been extremely important this season.
So you think you're going with the experience versus Toronto?
I think those guys, all I'm saying is those guys are going to show up.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to show up, and when those guys show up, the Canadiens show up.
I hope Carrier, I like Carrier a lot, man. I like Carrier a lot. I think he was very, very good. I hope he's okay, man. He's got a lot of courage. That guy plays with a lot of heart. I like Alex Carrier so much.
What an addition. What an addition.
I like him so much, Eric.
And what a job by Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon to identify him, not only because he filled a specific need for them on the right hand with experience on the right side of their D, but because his style absolutely fits with the way they want to play, which is why he has been that much better than anybody could have expected. He's a warrior. Marty St. Louis used the word warrior.
He's a warrior. I love that guy. I really love that guy.
He will take any hit to make any play. He proved that a couple of times last night, but he proved it many times before that. And man, there are, I know, multiple teams that were just kicking themselves that they missed the boat on that one.
We'll know a lot more about Carey over the next couple of days, even though teams don't usually say all that much in the playoffs. Eric, practice tomorrow for you. Enjoy the next couple of days in Washington, D.C., Canadiens and the Capitals. Game 5 on Wednesday night. I hope to see you Friday night for Game 6. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thanks for the song earlier.
You're very welcome. There you have it, Eric Engels. Marinaro, Sick Podcast, brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different. Do we have a question or two that maybe Shane might want to bring up? 1 or 2 comments? Do we have that? All right, Michael sent over $28. My God, still hoping for us to win Wednesday, but just looking ahead to this summer, if Duchesne a good fit at 2 center, or we look for a long-term commitment, Horvat, for example. Well, I would prefer Horvat over Duchesne. He's bigger, he's stronger, and he's younger. But who knows? How about the talk of Sidney Crosby? He's got a 2-year contract extension. And, Phil Bourque was on the Sick Podcast, the Eye Test, earlier today with Pierre Maguire and Jimmy Murphy. And he says, you know what? It's the first time, he goes, I've ever had doubts as to whether or not Sidney Crosby is going to finish his career in Pittsburgh, of course, because head coach Mike Sullivan, who's been there for the longest time, was relieved of his dirties earlier today. Maybe one more comment? This coming from David Abisher, $28, who I doubt is the actual David Abisher, former Montreal Canadiens goaltender. Habs should trade for Ryan O'Reilly in the offseason and make him the second-line center. Love the contact. Go Habs, go. Only thing I don't like about O'Reilly, he doesn't have the foot speed anymore. And this is a team that likes to play with a lot of speed and a lot of pace. So on that note, special thanks to everyone for tuning in, watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. We're back tomorrow night, same time, same place on Tuesday night at 10 o'clock. Canadiens and the Capitals, Game 5 on Wednesday. But once again, we'll be back tomorrow night. Thanks for watching, everyone. For Shane Gamoa, Master Control. I hope Eric's right. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow The Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Tibi, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.